How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thanks for joining me. And today's topic is successful digital transformation. Where does it actually begin? And this goes back a number of years to a Harvard Business Review study, not about digital transformation, but basically the study found that companies or projects or programs or actions or initiatives, whatever you're comfortable with, that have a clearly established purpose, defined purpose, are more successful than companies that don't. Now, what does that actually mean? It means that the organization and its stakeholders and the people carrying out these activities have an understanding of the goal that needs to be achieved. This is where I want to begin. A goal is more than improve productivity, reduce costs, value your employee, value your stakeholders. These are almost platitudinal statements. What you need, what we need, and what we advocate is a fully formed goal definition of what you are expecting out of your digital transformation. And we'll chat about that in just a moment. So it's not a platitudinal phrase, and it's not just a name. Name models are woefully inadequate. Why is it woefully inadequate? Because there's so many different interpretations that can happen. So our suggestion, and what we use with our clients, is a sort of like a template that has key components in it. So we start off with, yes, what's the name of the goal? That's sort of like an anchor, and it's like a table of contents in a book. We all know that there's much more to a book than a table of contents. Table of contents is what? Just an index. So then from that, we have a description, a narrative description of what that goal name and goal is trying to achieve. We then have what is the resulting business value if this goal, in this case digital transformation, is achieved. What is its measure? Not just a phrase that says the business value is X, Y, Z, but what does it measure? Increase this or reduce this or X, Y, Z. So you have to have a measure of some kind. And by the way, big and little, tall and short are not measures. No one can say to you, well, build me a big building. Because the first question you're going to ask is, well, how big? Because it makes a difference if it's 10 stories, 50 stories, or 100 stories. And the last element is a time frame. So briefly, the goal name, a description of what that is, the business value that you're trying to achieve, the measurement of that value, and the time frame you're expecting the results to happen. Now, that is step one. Briefly, the next step is determining what your desired state is supposed to look like. Not as is. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not begin with your current state. We have to remember the human condition. Once people see something, they sort of focus in on that, and it's hard to move those blinders and open them up. It's a human condition. It has nothing to do with tools, techniques, processes, or methods. It has to do with natural occurrences of stakeholders when they see something. Do not begin with your current state. You're going to essentially restrict the thinking there. Now, people say, well, Sam, that's great, but we're not really sure what that current state is. Then what we should do is stop. We should stop and figure out what the desired state is. Then we look at the current state, and then the series of initiatives we need to achieve the goals we're trying to achieve for digital transformation. I hope this little briefing helps. Again, we start off with a clear, defined goal for the digital transformation. We look at the desired state, if you want to call it a roadmap or architecture, to get us there. We then look at the as-is state. So we have the desired state and then the as-is state so we can build a roadmap. And then, of course, the initiatives that bring us to that digital transformation you're looking for. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.